Hello friends, welcome to C# with Unity tutorial series. In the previous tutorial, we discussed about abstract and field classes. In this tutorial, I am going to discuss 4 different types of classes that you normally find in any application. They are concrete class, abstract class, field class, and static class. Let's see them step by step and understand. Let me open the Unity. Let me click on Inheritance Demo project that we created in the previous tutorial. Let me go to project. I open this inheritance demo.ps file in the MonoDevelop. Here we are. I am going to delete some unnecessary code that is not required. I delete this code and I save this. There is nothing at present in this inheritance demo.ps file except the inheritance demo class. Now let me go to Unity so that we should not find any error messages. There are no errors. Let me go to main camera, add component scripts, attach the inheritance demo.ps file and go to MonoDevelop. Let's begin. First we are going to discuss about concrete class. Concrete class. How do you create a concrete class? We are going to create a concrete class by using a keyword class. Class, then we give class name. So I give concrete class at present, opening brace, closing brace. This is how you create a concrete class. Then, how do you create an abstract class? Abstract class. We are going to create an abstract class by using the abstract keyword. Abstract class. Let me give class name as abstract class. Opening brace, closing brace. This is how you create the abstract class, friend. How do you create a field class? S-E-A-L-E-D, field class. C-L-A-S-S. So we are going to use a keyword called as field. Then we write a class keyword. Then we give a class name. Field class. Opening brace, closing brace. There is another type of a class that you normally find, which is known as a static class. And how do you create a static class? By using a keyword called as static. Then we write a keyword class. Then we give a class name. S-T-A-T-I-C. Static class. Opening brace, closing brace. Let me save this file and go to Unity and show you that there will be no error messages. And you can see that we don't have any error message. Let me go back to MonoDevelop. Now we are going to discuss a little bit about what members go into each class and what members can't be written in each class. Let's begin then. First I create one public integer known as maybe num and semicolon. If I write like this, in the concrete class you can write a non-static member. If I save this and come to Unity, we will not be having any error message. Right? We don't have any error message except it is telling a warning that a field concrete class.num is never assigned to and will always have its default value 0. That's okay, no problem. Let me copy this and paste it in the abstract class. Is it possible to write a non-static member in the abstract class, a variable? If I save this, come to Unity, you can see you will not be having any error message. But of course you will be having the warning. Abstract class num is never assigned to, will always have its default value 0. Let's go and copy this and paste it in the field class. So I paste it. Let me save this and come to Unity and show you that we will not be having any error message, but we will be having a warning message. Field class.num is never assigned to and will always have its default value 0. That is good. Let's go to static class and paste and check out whether it is possible to write a non-static variable or declare a non-static variable in the static class. Let me save this and I am going to show you an error. Static class.num cannot declare an instance member in a static class. Why we are getting this error message? The reason we are getting this error message is static class can have only static members, members. Remember that. You cannot have non-static members in the static class. Do you remember? We discussed about the static members. Static members are class level members. They are not instance members. Hence, you cannot create non-static members in the static class. So these are also known as instance members. Instance members cannot be written in the static class. So I can say that static class can have only static members. Okay. So I comment this line so that we should not find this error message again. I save this and come to Unity. We will not be having this error message, but we find warnings. 3 warnings are there as it is. Let's go back. Now we understood one important point, that static class can have only static members. That means you cannot have static class cannot have, I can say, cannot have non-static or instance members. Hope you guys have understood. Let's proceed further and understand the next thing. I create another public static integer. I give a num, maybe I give a name as static num, num, and semicolon. Now if I save this, if I come to Unity, you will not be having any error message, because concrete class can have non-static members and static members. If I save this, come to Unity, you will not be having any error message, but you will be added one more warning. The warning is concrete class static num is never assigned to and will always have its default value 0. That's good. Let's go. Now I copy this from here and paste it to the abstract class. Let's save and check. Is it possible to write a static member in the abstract class? Yes. Let's save and come and check. We should not have any error message, but one warning will be added. Abstract class static num is never assigned to and will always have its default value 0. So no problem with that also. Let me copy this and paste it into a sealed class. If I save this and come to Unity, sealed class can have static members. There is no problem in that. If I go to Unity, you will not be having an error message, but you will be having a warning. A concrete class num is never assigned to will always have its default value 0. And another warning, this is a warning guys, it's not an error, okay? Concrete class static num is never assigned to and will always have its default value 0. That's what it is telling. No problem. Let's copy this from here and paste it in the static class. So this time I am pasting it in the static class. As we know that static class can have only static members, that means I can have a static member. If I save this and come back to Unity, we will not be having an error message, but we will be having warnings. The warnings are concrete class num is never assigned to, will always have its default value. Concrete class static num is never assigned to, will always have default value. So you can see that all these are warnings, they are not errors. So that means we can have static member or a static variable in the static class. We can have a static member in field class, we can have static member in abstract class, we can have a static member in the concrete class. Non-static members are not allowed in the static class. Remember that. Let's proceed further. Is it possible to create public const a float? Maybe I give 5 equal to 3.142f and semicolon. We can have a constant in the concrete class. If I save this and come to Unity, you will not be having any error message. Okay, only we have warnings. You can see here also we have warnings only. Let's go back. Let me copy this and paste it down and save this and go to Unity. We will not be having any error message. Only warnings will be available. You can see that. Let me copy this and paste it in the field class and save this. Come to Unity. We will not be having any error message because we can have a constant field in the field class. Let's copy this and paste it in the static class. Let me paste it. So here we have a public constant float file 3.142f in the static class. Is it possible to create a constant? As you can see that I haven't written a static keyword here. Even though I have not written static keyword, in C#, constants are by default static. That means I can write a constant field in the static class. If I save this file and go to Unity, I should not get any error message. Let's see that. You can see that we don't have any error messages, only warnings are listed out. Here, let's proceed further. So now we understood few things, what we can write, what we cannot write. So please understand these things. Constants are by default static in C#. Remember this. So let me save this code. Let's proceed further for the next thing. Here, let's create some methods. So here I am creating one method called as public void display. Now display is a non-static method. You can see that I have not written a static keyword, or I can create a static. So let me create a static display method. STATIC, static display method. So here I created a method which is a static method. Is it possible to create a static method in the concrete class? Yes, it is possible. If I save this, go to Unity, you will not be having any error message. Only warnings will be available. Let's go and copy this from here and paste it in the abstract class. Save this and check out. Is it possible to write a static method in the abstract class? Yes, it is possible. If I go and show you, there are no error messages. Only warnings are there. These are also warnings, guys. Let me go back and copy this from here and paste it in the field class. Is it possible to have a static method in the field class? Yes, it is possible. If I save and go to Unity, you will not be having any errors. Only warnings will be available. So you can see only warnings are there. Let me go back and copy this from here and paste it in the static class. As we know that static class can have static members, so no problem, we won't get any error message. If I save this and go to Unity, we will not be having any error message except warnings. Let's proceed further. Now we add to concrete class public void display method, opening brace, closing brace, and here you can see that this is a non-static method. Why? Because we don't have a static keyword. And this is a non-virtual method because it is not having a virtual keyword. This is not an abstract method. This is a normal non-static method. Is it possible to write non-static methods in the concrete class? Yes, it is possible. If I save and go to Unity, you will not be having any error message except warnings. You can see that we have only warnings available. Let's go back and let me copy this from here and paste it in the abstract class. And is it possible to have in the abstract class a method which is non-static? Yes, it is possible. If I save and come to Unity, you will not be having any errors except warnings. You are having only warnings here. Let me go back and copy this from here and paste it in the field class. Let me save this, go to Unity. You will not be having any error message except warning. That means you can write a non-static method in the field class also. Let me copy this and paste it in the static class. Now, is it possible to have a non-static method in the static class? We know that static class can have only static members. So we are going to get the error message. Let me save this and come to Unity. We are going to get the error message that static class.display cannot declare instance members in the static class. So you cannot have a non-static member or an instance method in the static class. So this is not possible, friends. Let's proceed further and add one more type of member. Public virtual void display2. I am creating another method called as display2, which is a virtual method. Is it possible to write a virtual method in the concrete class? Yes, because you can inherit the concrete class and override it if you want. So if I save this and come to Unity, you will not be having any error messages except warnings you have. Let's go back and copy this virtual method from here and paste it in the abstract class. Is it possible to have a virtual method in the abstract class? Yes, because we must and should inherit the abstract class, and if we want, we can override this virtual method in the derived class. If I save this and go to Unity, we will not be having any error message except the warnings. Let me go back and copy this virtual method from here and paste it in the sealed class. Do you remember? The sealed class is a final class. It won't make sense creating a virtual method in the sealed class because as we cannot inherit, we cannot override this somewhere else. So if I say this, we are going to get the error message that virtual method you have created in the sealed class. New virtual member in the sealed class with the name display2 is declared in the sealed class. It is not allowed, and you can see this is an error message. So I cannot have this. So let me comment this from here. Is it possible to have a virtual method in the static class? No, because this virtual method is a non-static, or I can say it is an instant method. You can see I have no static keyword here, so it is also not allowed. If I save and go to Unity, you are going to get the error message that static class display2 cannot declare instance member in the static class. Not possible. If I try to write here static virtual, this is also not allowed because static keyword cannot be used with virtual, override or abstract keywords. If I save and go to Unity, you will get some other error message. The error message is the static member static class display2 cannot be marked as an override, virtual or abstract. It is not possible, guys. So you cannot have virtual methods also in the static class. So let me comment that. Let's go up and we start with the concrete class again. Is it possible to have public, abstract, void, display3, opening bracket, closing bracket, semicolon? Is it possible to have an abstract member or an abstract method in the concrete class? No. Do you remember that? If you have an abstract member, then your class must and should be declared as an abstract. If I say this, we are going to get the error message. The error message is concrete class display3 is abstract, but it is declared in a non-abstract class. Your concrete class is non-abstract, so you cannot have abstract method in this one. If you want to put, then system tells that you write this one as an abstract. If I write here as an abstract and save this and come to Unity, you will not be having the error message. Can you see that? The error has gone away. So, but I do not want to write like this. I want it as a concrete class. So I am going to comment this line because this is not possible. Let me save this. Let's proceed further. Is it possible to have an abstract method in the abstract class? Yes, it is possible. We understood in the previous tutorial that an abstract method can be written in the abstract class. So if I save this, come to Unity, you will not be having any error message. No problem with that. Let's go back and copy this abstract and paste it in the sealed class. Is it possible to have an abstract method in the sealed class? No. Why? Because we cannot inherit this sealed class. Right? And also we understood that abstract method must and should be present only within the abstract class. So this is a sealed class, not allowed. If I save this and come to Unity, but you will be having the error message that is the sealed class display3 is abstract, but it is declared in a non-static, non-abstract class, sealed class. So this is not possible, friends. Is it possible to have an abstract method in the static class? Let me paste it. No, this is not possible. We know that abstract method must and should be present in the abstract class. So if I save this, we are going to get the error message. The error is static class display3 cannot declare an instance member in a static class. Of course, that is an instance member. Second error is static class display3 is abstract, but it is declared in a non-abstract class. So you cannot have this also. Let me save this and come back to Unity. We will find only warning, no error. That's good. Now we have understood what we can write, what we cannot write. I suggest you people to try writing the properties in each concrete class, abstract class, and check out whether the properties are allowed. Of course, properties are allowed I want you people to check that by yourself. So remember that anything is non-static. Okay, this is a static member, this is a static member, this is a static member. Anything is non-static. They are all instance members, or you can say non-static members. Anything is static, it is a class level member or a static member. Remember that. I am going to give you a little bit more information on static too. Now we understand how do we access these static members and non-static members. Let's discuss, and also we are going to discuss, is it possible to create an instance of a concrete class, abstract class, all those things. So let's proceed. Here I am. Is it possible to create an instance for a concrete class? Concrete class cc1 is equal to new concrete class semicolon. If I save this, if I come to Unity, you will not find any error message except the warning, because the concrete class allows you to create an instance. The variable cc1 is assigned, but its value never used. That's okay, no problem. So this is an instance variable, guys. cc1 is now an instance of a concrete class. So using the cc1 dot, if I put, you can see that you can access the display method, display2 method. You can access the num also. So you can easily access. Let's say you can access the display method, bracket semicolon. You can say cc1 dot display2. You can access, and cc1 dot num equal to 10. Maybe you can assign a value. If you want to assign, you can assign a value also. You can see I access display, display2 and num. Why I cannot be able to access this constant pi and the static number by using the cc1? Check out. Can you see if I write cc1 dot, can you see anywhere static num? No. Can you see anywhere a constant? No. The pi is not available. Why? Because as I told that they are static members. This static display method, constant, and this static variable you can access only with the class name, as they are a class member. So let me show that. If I go here, I can say concrete class dot. Can you see here? I can get this static num variable. I can assign some value to it. I can access concrete class. See, I am writing the class name. I am not writing the instance name. Concrete class dot pi. This is a constant. So maybe I can put this in some other variable. Maybe I can create in num equals to something. I can put that constant value in this float num, and I can access concrete concrete class dot. We can also access the static display method. Remember that static members are accessed by the class name, whereas non-static members are accessed by the instance name. So hope you guys have understood. Here we need to note that concrete class allows creating instance. Now I am going to say abstract class abc1 is equal to new abstract class bracket semicolon. In the previous tutorial we understood that we cannot create the instance of the abstract class. Why we cannot create the instance of the abstract class? Because if I say abc1 dot display3 bracket semicolon, the system will get confused. When you call a display3 method, it goes to the abstract class display3 method and it finds that there is no code, there is no implementation. How do I execute the code? What code I have to execute? So what they have made, they restricted creating the instance of the abstract class. So you cannot create this. This is not possible, guys. So remember that we cannot create the instance of abstract class. So don't allow instantiation not allowed. So how do I access the members of abstract class then? So what you need to do, you must and should inherit the abstract class. That means you can inherit to another class. Maybe I can say abstract class ABC, abstract class, derived class, colon, abstract abstract class, opening brace, closing brace. So I am inheriting the abstract class to ABCDC, that is abstract class BC, I have given some name. And also we know that if you are inheriting an abstract class, you must and should implement or give a body to the inherited abstract method in the derived class here. If you don't override the virtual method, it's okay, no problem, but you must and should have to give or implement the display3 method. If I save and come to Unity, you find the error message that ABCDC does not implement the inherited abstract member. So you must and should implement. So I give public override void, I say display3 bracket opening brace closing brace. Now you will not be having any error message except warning. If you come to this place, you are not going to have any error message, only warnings are there. Now you can create the instance of this ABCDC class and access the inherited members, right? So that means you can create the instance of ABCDC, maybe ABCDC1 is equal to new ABCDC bracket semicolon, and you can say ABCDC1 dot. You can access the display method. You can access ABCDC1 dot display2 method. You can also access ABCDC1 dot display3 method. We know that when you say display3 method, now it goes to ABCDC class. It goes to ABCDC class and executes this code. It finds there is a body that it will execute. There is no problem in that. And we also know that most inherited methods or most overridden methods will be executed. That we understood while learning function overriding. And you can also see that if I see ABCDC1 dot, I can see only num. Num also I can assign some value because it is a non-static member. And we know that static members we can access only by the class name. See, if I say here ABCDC dot, you can see there is a file, there is a static num, there is a static display. You can access them. So I can say ABCDC dot, I can say static display method I can call, and I can say ABCDC dot, I can access the static num and assign the value maybe 20, and I can say ABCDC dot, I can call the file and I can assign it to some another value, maybe num2 equals to 5. So here I give a float type, and let me save this and come to Unity and check. And you can observe that we don't have any error message. That is good, nice, we are going well. That's good. Let's proceed further. So we understood that abstract class won't allow instantiation. If you want to access the abstract class member, you have to inherit the abstract class and take the help of the derived class reference variable and call the member. Or you can also use the base class name also, base class reference also. Let me show that if you want to know. Let me copy this and hit enter and paste it. And here I am going to say abstract class. We know that let me give some other name. Maybe I can give ABC1 is equal to new ABCDC. You can see I am creating the child class instance and putting the reference in the base class. And we know that the base class reference can point to the derived class instance. So I can copy this and paste it in this place. I'm pasting it here, I'm pasting it over here, I'm pasting it over here, I'm pasting it over here. And I'm going to copy this abstract class and paste it over here, I paste it over here, I paste it over here. And let me give here num3 and save this file and come to Unity. Let's check. Do we get any error message? No. We don't have any error message except the warning. That means you can take the base class abstract class, create a reference, point it to its child class and access the members by the base class reference. We know that we can create a base class reference, but we cannot instantiate the base class. That is the abstract class we cannot instantiate. So all these things are possible. I hope you guys are understanding. It's very simple. If you want to access the static methods, you can use the class name and access them. Simple. Let's proceed further and understand the next one, that is the field class. So, is it possible to create an instance for a field class? Maybe I can say sc1 is equal to new field class. Of course, it is possible. You can create any number of instances of a field class. If I save this and come to Unity, you won't get any error message except the warnings. You will be having only warnings. You can see that. So, I can say here sc1 dot. I can access the num variable and assign some value. I can say sc1 dot. I can access the display method, and you can see that sc1 dot. There are no other methods that I can be able to access at present, which are present in the field class. And if I need to access the static members, of course I have write field class field class dot. You can see I can access the static num. I can assign some value. I can access SCA field class dot. I can access the static display method. I can say SCA field class dot 5, and I can put that value in a floating point value, maybe num4 equal to static point. So static members we are accessing is the class name, and we know that here the field class allows creating the instance of field class. That's good. Let's proceed further for the static class. So remember here, field class allows instantiation. And now we proceed further for a static class. So is it possible to create a static static class, maybe stc. I give stc1 is equal to new static class. Is it possible to create an instance of the static class? No, it is not allowed, because all the members in the static class are static members. We need not to create an instance, because there are no instance members. It won't make sense creating an instance of the static class, because all the members are static in the static class. If you want to access the static members, we know that we can use just the class name, right friends? So this is not allowed. If I save this, come to Unity, we are going to get the error message that stc1 cannot declare a variable of static types. So it is not allowed. So not allowed. Won't allow instantiation. So let me comment this. If I want to access any static member, all I need is I need to take the help of the class name dot. I can access whatever the static members are there. So I can assign a value to it. Maybe I can create a floating point variable called as num5, and I can assign static static class dot 5 semicolon, and we have a static class static class dot static display method. So you can access all the members by the class name, right? So this, if you see, it is similar to the thing that we have learned, like math.py, math dot the class name, maybe I can say here abx, the attribute of 10. So it looks something like that, right? The class name and after that members. Of course, math is a static class in the .NET framework. We see that. I will explain when do you create static members and all. So hope you guys have understood. Static class won't allow instantiation. Field class allows instantiation. Abstract class don't allow instantiation. Concrete class allows instantiation. How do you access the non-static member? How do you access the static member? Good. Let's proceed further. Now here we have the concrete class. Now concrete class, if you want to make a more specialized concrete class, then I can say yes, concrete class, and it can be inherited from a concrete class, CLASS, opening brace, closing brace. That means you can inherit a concrete class and make a specialized class of the concrete class. It is possible. If you come to abstract class, we know that we must and should inherit the abstract class. That means abstract class allows you to inherit. Whereas if you come to field class, you cannot create a specialized class of the field class. If I create a class, yes, SC sealed class. As class, it is going to inherit from a sealed class, opening brace, closing brace. If I say that, you are going to get the error message because sealed class is a final class. We know that we cannot inherit a sealed class. It is a final class. Our system considers that sealed class is a fully implemented class, whereas abstract class is partially implemented class. So if I save this and go to Unity, we are going to get the error message that a sealed class cannot derive from the sealed class. That means sealed class won't allow inheritance. So that means it is not possible. Similarly, let's check whether static class can be inherited or not. So I can create a class, maybe as static class is the name I am giving. Then I inherit it from static class, opening brace, closing brace. So I am trying to make more specialized static class. It is not possible. Static class are treated as final class or a sealed class. So you cannot inherit from a static class. If I save and come to Unity, you are going to get the error message that yes, static class cannot derive from the static class. It is not allowed. So inheritance is not allowed by the static class. That means you cannot make a more specialized class of the static class. Static class are by default sealed classes. If I save this, come back to Unity, we will not be having any error message except some warnings. So we have some warnings that num1, num2, num3, num4, num5 are never used. That's okay, no problem. Let's proceed further to understand next concept. Is it possible to inherit from some other class? A concrete class can inherit from some other class, maybe MonoBehaviour. Let me try to inherit a MonoBehaviour class to a concrete class. Is it possible? Yes. If I save and go to Unity, we won't be getting any error message because concrete class can inherit from some other class. Is abstract class can inherit from some other class? Let me put a colon and try to inherit from the MonoBehaviour class. Yes, it is possible. If I save and go to Unity, we won't be getting any error message except the warnings. You can see that. Is it possible to inherit a sealed class from some other class? Yes, you can inherit from a MonoBehaviour class or some other class. Let me save and go to Unity and check out that we don't have any error message. Whereas, if I come to static class, is it possible to inherit a static class from some other class? Let's check this. Let's try to inherit MonoBehaviour. Let me save and go to Unity. You are going to get an error message that static class cannot derive from a MonoBehaviour class. Static classes must derive from the object only. That means static class cannot be inherited from any other class. This is not allowed, guys. It should be inherited only from the object class. So hope you guys have understood. Now, let me tell you about little bit more about the static class. Now, static class is one of the most important thing to understand. Static keyword is one of the most important thing to understand. That is, static classes are going to be loaded only once. Once they loaded, they will be available throughout the application life cycle. And also, the members of the static class, like variables of the static class, can persist the value throughout the life of the application. That means you can put the value, change the value and persist it for longer time. That means until the application quits, the value in the static member will not be removed, you can say. They are going to persist the value. And also, as I told that static members are accessed by the class members. They are the class level members. Static class can have only static constructor. That means here I create a public static constructor and let me write here, this is a non-static constructor, guys. We know that this is the default constructor, a non-static constructor. So let me write here a static constructor. You can see that we are getting the error message that if I move the mouse cursor, you can see that static constructor cannot have access modifier. You should not write anything like this, public and all. No, you just need to write the static keyword, then the constructor name, bracket, opening brace, closing brace. By default, it will be publicly available. So if I save this and come to Unity, we will not be having any error messages except warnings. Whereas if you try to put a non-static constructor, you are going to get the error message. If I save this and come to Unity, you can see that static classes cannot have instance constructors. You cannot have instance constructors. Not allowed, guys. This is not allowed. So static class can have only static members. And also one more thing you need to remember, that static constructors are executed only one. Only one. So in this tutorial we have learned a lot of things, guys. Please watch this video again and again and understand whatever I explained. Let me go to the slide and recap everything and we move forward. Let's begin. Abstract class prevents instantiation, whereas sealed class allows instantiation. Abstract class should be inherited, that means it allows inheritance. Sealed class prevents inheritance, whereas static class prevents inheritance as well as instantiation. It won't allow inheritance, it won't allow instantiation. Now abstract class contains abstract and non-abstract members. Sealed class cannot contain the abstract members. It can contain only non-virtual, non-abstract members. It can contain static and non-static members. And static class can contain only static members. Abstract class is considered as partially implemented, so you have to inherit to fully implement. Whereas sealed class is considered as fully implemented. Static classes are considered as fully implemented because static classes are by default sealed. Create an abstract class when you want to create a partially implemented class containing common properties, common behaviors which apply to the same kind or a similar kind of classes. Abstract classes are must inherit classes. Create a sealed class when you want to create a fully implemented class and nobody should inherit that class. That means you want to prevent inheritance. You create a sealed class, and sealed classes are also known as final classes. Create a static class when you want to group a globally exposable functionality and have only one instance of the class and persist throughout the application lifecycle. So if you want to create some utility classes, kind of math class is an example in the Unity. That is a utility class which is a static class. If you want, I will show that. I can go to right click, go to declaration, here we are, and I am going to locate the mathf structure, and mathf structure is a structure. Mathf is a structure, it's not a class, but mathf structure behind the scene uses a math class from the system namespace which is in the .NET platform, which is a static class. You can see that the math class has some constants which are by default static fields and static method. ABS is a static method or of static methods. You can see that. Let's go back to the slide. And we understood that abstract class can inherit from some other class and abstract class should be inherited by other class. Sealed class can inherit from other class. Sealed class cannot be inherited by other class. Static class cannot inherit from other class. Static class cannot be inherited by other class. So in this tutorial we have understood a lot of information we got regarding concrete class, regarding abstract class, regarding sealed class, regarding static class. Please watch the video again and again. So for this tutorial this much is enough, friends. For more benefits, please subscribe, like, comment and share. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. See you in the next tutorial. Keep learning, keep coding, keep sharing.